Good afternoon and welcome to another wellness weekend. My name is Kathy Reneses and I am the in-house life coach at Centro Holistico. And I am so excited because joining me today is our in-house intuitive counselor, Neetu Nilishi. Hi, Neetu. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Kathy. It's so wonderful to be here again. Thanks for having me over. And I'm looking
Yeah, no.
forward to a lovely conversation.
Oh, for sure. I've been so excited for this, and I think even the timing is just so opportune as it is All Hallows Eve, and this topic that we're going to be talking about really, a lot of people have kind of connected it to like Halloween, and because of TV and movies, I feel that this healing modality has really kind of been misinterpreted a lot, and that is the art of tarot reading. How long have you been reading tarot cards, Nitu?
Well, my relationship with tarot cards goes a long way. I think when I was just like 20 years old, I think that's
Mm.
when I was drawn to tarot cards. But then because of the humdrum of your daily life, I just not good like give time to actually sort of hone my craft. But for the past 10 years, I'm doing it extensively and professionally, and I'm completely into the zone.
Same. I think my passion for tarot and reading tarot was when I think it was around 14 or 15 when I had this family friend come over to the house, and she gave me this like tarot reading, and she said that, you know what, you're going to be on the same path as me, but probably like when you're in your late 20s or so. And like, okay, I heard it, didn't really believed it, and I kind of just,
Uh,
just kind of left it there. And
right.
then you know when I turned 27, for some weird reason, I just rediscovered the cards again, and it is also a huge part of my practice. So it's kind of crazy
It makes me
how
feel so good when like people talk about tarot cards. In fact, can I like share a story as well with you that when
yeah.
I got the whole thing that I remember that my sister-in-law was a tarot card reader. Doesn't do it like professionally now, and so I remember I was around 25 years old and I was pregnant. I was around 6 months pregnant, and she happened to have the cards with her, and I was like, how can a deck possibly sort of like predict about my future, And but then through the cards, she said that what, your child will be born with a birthmark, okay, and you will have a dream about an animal within a couple of days, and where the animal will be stabbed is where you will have. I mean, like your son or your daughter will have a birthmark. And
Mm.
luck behold, I did have a dream of a bear chasing after me along with a man with a dagger, and I'm running. It's like a warehouse. I'm running there, and suddenly when I thought that the bear is gonna kill me, and so will the man, but this bear sort of like protects me and takes a stab from that man onto him here. And
Oh
my
my god.
son was born after 2 months, exactly at the same spot he had a birthmark. And that sort of
Oh
enlightened me. It's like
yeah.
going in that deepest layer of your psyche and trying to understand this metaphysic stuff about the tarot cards. And that's when I really had this epiphany that, what, I need to learn more about it. So
Mm.
that's a very interesting story.
That is I'm getting goosebumps just
I
just
know. I
listening
still
to
get
that
goosebumps.
story. That is like, yeah, that is like tarot. That is like,
Yeah,
like
amazing.
karma, like you paying it forward for whoever that is that must have helped you in the past life. That is now your son.
Like my
Oh,
protector. Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of like he protected you, and now in this lifetime you're protecting him. So it really is like
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
full circle. Oh my gosh, goosebumps. So okay, anyway, but let's delve into it then. So for people who don't know, what tarot is, Nitu, could you explain like what is
Sure.
what is tarot, and why is it considered, at least for us, like to be a healing modality?
Okay, so for me, tarot cards are amazing, like I mentioned earlier. So tarots are a very important form of Western mysticism, which means that there have been, I mean, this like symbolism of the cards and the truth seekers, been there since like 600 years, over 600 years. Okay, historically speaking, it's more as a form of mantic cards, which is like a form of divination, like a way of knowing about the future. But for me, it's recognizing the inner knowledge which we have within the psyche, awakening deeper layers of the soul's experience. Okay. So in our deck, we have 78 cards. 22 cards are your major arcana cards. Arcana means the secret, which are known as destiny cards, which means something is bound to happen, but then one can always control how they experience it. And then we have the rest of the cards, which are known as the suit cards, which are basically from ace till 10, which are mundane cards, which means it's subjective. One can always maneuver their journey to reach their destination. It's like if you're in a wild forest and you have the help of a guide with you, you will learn to camouflage yourself so you can dodge the potholes and save yourselves from the wild animals while they are still there. Similarly, in our life, we have these situations which can be jarring, which can be daunting, but with the help of the guidance of the cards, we can learn to basically dodge the bad situations and reach our destination faster and with amplified results. So it works like that. Just a very nice archetype of all of the human experience, like considering it's coming from the archaic ancestors, where they pass the knowledge down to us. And one very important thing, that tarot deck is one such thing that it has so many sources, like Kabbalah, like alchemy, like astrology,
Yeah,
numerology,
exactly. Yeah.
like even philosophy, Christian bibliography. I mean, there are like so many things that tarot can actually resonate with you on so many levels. It doesn't matter about your background, about your religion, where you are, I mean, as in where you're from. It will just somehow resonate with you. So
Yeah,
that's what tarot is.
exactly. And I think to add to that, because a lot of people like they hear tarot reading, and because of media, they think that it's a super woo woo
I blame
thing.
the movies.
Wow. Yeah, but like the thing is, it's also based in a lot of Jungian psychology. Like we talk about Jungian archetypes, et cetera, et cetera. And I think Carl Jung was one of the psychologists that was able to
Swiss
best
psychologist, yeah,
explain,
that
yeah,
who
like
coined
what
the word synchronicity. Yes.
yeah, like what is like the belief is that everything that's happening now has happened already in the past, so we already have this unconscious collective that like these are just patterns that are happening, and these are the patterns that are in the cards that are shown in the major and minor arcana, and it's really up to the reader to interpret it for the seeker. And for me, what I love about tarot is it triggers introspection, right, for whoever the seeker is. So you can have different readers read the cards for you, but it hits different for you because it triggers all this, all these questions, and really unpacks a lot of things that maybe you don't want to look at. I used to, before I became a life coach, I was a tarot reader, and I would joke around about how like people would share like a lot of things to their tarot readers that they wouldn't
Yeah,
share with their friends and family, like deepest
absolutely.
darkest secrets. And there is a responsibility there. So there are, for those that don't know, there are two different types of tarot cards. One is the traditional card, which is more of the Rider Waite. I like to call this the beginner's cards,
Yes,
right? And
yes. That's the
this is the one
first. Yeah, right, right,
this is the
right.
one that people are more familiar with. So this is like the imagery. And then there are what people call intuitive cards, wherein there isn't any set of interpretations. It's really up to you to
Mm-hmm.
kind of figure out what that is, or use your intuition. I don't have really intuitive cards. I have like the Prisma Visions here,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well, I use the spellcaster, which is different
there we go.
than
So
the
that's
Rider
very
Waite, and then of course I am right now into the thought cards as well. I've got some of them, and this is like the Oracle Angel cards, which I also sometimes use. It's also very
love that.
gorgeous, archangels and the spirit guides, and like your ascended masters there. But can I just go back to it? I think it's our natural nature to actually sort of like rely on our right brain, because we have, I mean, if we have the left brain, which is just like your logical brain, and the right brain, which is like the seat of intuition, we are meant to use both of them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
While Carl Jung sort of like spoke about the collective consciousness, and just so it can impact the individual, but then Sigmund Freud, which is like his rival, was more about the negative impact of using your
Yeah.
subconscious information, right? And they had this thing with like each other, right? But then I just believe that tarot cards are very logically intuitive, because we just take the information from your subconscious mind and we just interpret that for you.
Exactly.
So it's a
Mhm.
very logical yet intuitive way of knowing about the future and knowing about your present circumstances, just so we
Yeah.
can fix it. So it
Exactly.
works like that. Yeah.
And I think also another thing to mention as well is because people kind of think that tarot readers are fortune tellers or psychics, and because we can like
Like
see the
magic
future.
crystal. Yes.
Exactly. But it really isn't that. It's more of your possible future of when, if you continue on the path that you're going towards, this is the possible future of what could happen. And
Absolutely.
if you don't like the outcome, then change the path, change the directions that
I
you're.
believe in accountability, that like we can co-create our destiny. While tarot cards can show you the path, that if you continue in this path, it might lead to this situation. When I feel you with this situation, which will make you reach your destination faster. But then one can always change it, because it's
Yeah.
your willpower, it's your free will, which can
Mhm.
decide and sort of manifest I mean, like as a manifest, like your reality, like the way you would want it to be. So it
Exactly.
works like that.
Yeah. And like I said, like there are different types of cards, there are different types of readers. I love how me and Nitu are kind of the opposite. So I am more of the traditional reader because I love kind of introducing people to tarot, and I think the traditional way, because there is so much psychology involved, is kind of like a safe kind of like foot through the door for a lot of people. My
Mhm.
favorite one to use currently is called the Line Strider deck. So it still
Oh,
has
I
a lot
love that deck.
of it
Yes,
still
I
has a
am
lot of the
aware of this deck. I
traditional
used it around
imagery.
3 years back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a lot of the traditional imagery, but it's presented in such a beautiful way. And for Neetu, like you need to, you have a lot of the intuitive decks. So how does that work in terms of, like, for example, the Thoth deck triggering
Right.
your intuition to do readings?
See, okay, let me start with the types of decks we have, right? One is like the tarot deck, right? Like the one which you and me use. Then we have the oracle deck, which are normally 44 in number, and I don't know the significance behind that. But
Mhm.
that's more, I mean, it has a framework and a boundary. It's much more limiting as compared to tarot, because I
Mhm.
have a tarot brain. I've been doing it since a long time, like since a decade now. So I
Yeah.
somehow work in that alignment where I don't have to read a book. It just
Yeah.
comes to me and it sort of like talks to me, and I can interpret that for you, right? So it's
Yeah.
more of an intuitive thing. And then we have the Lenormand card. I mean, I say like it's a French word, Lenormand, but
Yes. Let
my French is not that great. So like Lenormand cards, which are again like a very tiny piece of card, like deck, where they
Yeah.
have these images which are very personalized, and they
Yeah.
have this own communication stuff. It can be also drawn by like taking the painting from the Renaissance period and all that jazz. But then I basically walk along the tarot decks, which I think is much more expansive, unconditional, and unbinding. And one
Yeah.
can cover almost every aspect of the human experience there, right? Now, the types of readers, like you just said that you are more of like, I mean, like a reader which is more of intuitive, and so am I, right?
Yeah.
I like to divide that into 5 categories. Okay, I don't see the like the way normally like the world would see it. So let's start with that. So we have this card which is like the King of Cups. Now, this
Mhm.
kind of reader has a certain background about, say, like in psychology or like in counseling, which means
Yeah.
that this kind of reader will be more of a counselor, which will
Yeah.
try to understand you, make you talk about yourself more, and then with
Mhm.
the help of the guidance of the cards, will sort of tell you which way to take right now and the remedy going
Exactly.
forward,
Because
right? So
because cups
that's
is
one
also
category. Yeah,
because cups is associated with water, which is associated with
emotions.
feelings.
Yes. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like an impact where the person can really connect with you on an emotional level, more like a counselor, tarot
Yeah.
card reader. So it
Yeah.
works like that. Then we have the other one, which is the strength card. Now, this is more like an inspirational, motivational, will sort of make you get this sense of purpose in your life and make you feel very good about yourself. And whenever you will leave this person, you will feel very engaged, empowered, and you feel good about yourself. Like you got this kind of energy which was somehow withdrawn before you like you met this reader. But this
Yeah.
reader is the kind of reader which will always somehow inspire you to do more and sort of unleash your potential there. That's
Mm,
another kind of reader. Okay. Then we have this reader, which is the high priestess. Now,
mm.
this person, they're very rare people these days who are born with this intuitive ability, kind of like a clairvoyant, where they
Yeah.
just know things. They can just smell or
Mm,
feel or just know that this is there and this will happen. It can also communicate with ghosts and
yeah.
those spirits because they are very sensitive to the energy of the spirits and the whole metaphysical esoteric world, and they
Mm.
normally don't need cards actually, but I
Yeah.
still feel that somehow because of their ability they don't like to practice it because it can be very scary to
Yeah.
actually be very sensitive to those energies of the spirit world, right?
Yeah.
But they are born tarot card readers. I mean, they're like born psychics.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Then
think
we
this
have
is that is the kind of the tarot reader archetype that a lot of people are more familiar with because of TV and movies, the
yes,
psychic tarot
yes,
readers. I think it's
yes,
important also to kind of let people know that not all tarot readers are psychic, although there are
absolutely.
psychic tarot readers.
Absolutely. See, everyone can be a psychic, but it depends on the willingness on your part to hone that craft. So coming to the next one, the hermit is
Mm,
like maybe like you and me, right? That
mm,
we have to study and do a regular meditation and the cleansing and the route, I mean, and the rooting and the grounding and the
mm,
shielding, and just so we can have the knowledge based on the, I mean, based on your textual knowledge as well as a meditation, which is like a daily spiritual practice to make sure that we can read and we can connect to the cards, because I
mm,
in fact been doing a lot of like meditation on my tarot deck on like each and every
mm.
card, and then my own like spiritual vidya and like the pranayama to be able to get to the zone which will raise my vibration just so I can pick and absorb more and I can
Exactly.
understand my like, I mean, I'm talking about the Quellen, which is the one like who will ask questions and then guide them. So that's
Yeah.
another kind of reader who is basically somehow drawn into the healing world, that I want to heal people. I want to be able to somehow help people. He'll be
Mm,
just drawn towards that thing,
mhm. Yeah.
somehow, like kind of like a purpose, sense of
Yes.
purpose. And then the person will actually have the daily spiritual practice to be able to then become expertise as become an expert in that field.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's
Like
another, yeah.
yeah, I love to use this in my life coaching practice for clients that are open to doing it simply because, yeah, when you have the intention, you put in the study. My mantra before every tarot reading session is, may this be for the person's highest good. Um,
Absolutely.
and for me, it's interesting. I don't know if you do this, but I like to mix and match my tarot with either oracle cards or different cards. So for me, like I study the Kabbalah. I have here somewhere here. I have my 72 names of God, and that's my little meditation deck.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah, I am aware of it. So, I mean, there
Yeah,
are some like amazing, amazing decks in the world out there now
yeah,
that we can choose from. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I used to do that, but I
mm,
somehow don't walk in that style because I can just pick up one card and I can go on for like 1 hour. I can
that's
tell you
true.
all about your life based on one card. Okay, because I've been meditating on it. I've been working with my crystals, with it, and I've been sleeping with my deck. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but I've actually slept with like
Mm,
each and every card of mine, and then I dream about it, and then I write down my experiences where I enter the card and I am in that world of the Renaissance period. I mean, it depends on the deck actually. But
mm,
yeah, I normally don't mix the cards. I just like to work, but I keep changing my decks. I don't get complacent where I'm just going to be like using the Rider weight only. I keep
yeah,
changing. I keep mixing it up.
mm,
I mean, mixing as in I keep changing it up,
yeah,
not just like contained to one deck, because I
yeah,
think that way you will be able to get to that deepest layer of your psyche when you keep
mm,
changing. Otherwise you will get complacent with that image, and the idea is to explore, go more and more into it, right?
yeah.
So it's always a good idea to keep changing every year or every 2 years.
Yeah.
you know.
I love that. What I'm hearing from you is, like we're so different in terms of our tarot reading styles. We're so different with the what we like to accompany it when we do our readings. But what's similar is it really is all about service. And I noticed that with a lot of tarot readers. It's really a lot of coming from the space of compassion for whoever the seeker is, even if most of the time the questions are about their love life. There really is that practice of holding space and being there for that person and expanding your intuition so that you could be there for all these different people. And it's funny, a lot of the times, I'm pretty sure you get this too, a lot of the questions are usually around their love life, like when am I gonna find the one, et
The
cetera, et
perfect
cetera.
one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
But
then it
I
ends
like
up.
to make this quote actually, that that not everyone can be famous, but then everyone can be successful, because success is done by service. Like you very beautifully said, that our major agenda here is to help and be of
Yeah,
service, just to be able to serve people in some way or the other. And we are very fortunate that we got this beautiful way of doing that, which is our tarot decks,
exactly.
right? And I think money, fame is all just like a byproduct. Main intention is to be able to see that smile, or to see that nice sort of like sort of like tears of joy when they
Yeah,
actually get the clarity and they get the solution to what was bogging their mind. I think that's the biggest takeaway from what we do, right?
exactly. No, 100%. And I think, like for me, it's kind of a little sad that mainstream media has kind of, I don't know, like they haven't really done tarot that much of a service in terms of introducing it to people as this, lovely, beautiful healing modality. So for me too, for those that are, let's say, a little skeptical about getting a tarot reading from you, for example, let's just kind of break a couple of myths.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so myth number one is, what is the number one myth? Is that the tarot is from the devil, it is evil, etc., etc. I mean, like we're the
Because
ones
in
doing
the
the
movies, like they say, like in the movies, when they see that this woman with the gothic makeup and long
reading.
nails and the magic crystal there and the death card or the tower
Exactly.
card or the devil card, but we have such beautiful cards also, which can signify so much of happiness, so much of excitement, so much of like joy, with which one can experience it. So it's a pure myth. See, tarot
Yeah.
cards is like a reality check, okay, wherein if you're struggling with a problem, so like the first step is to acknowledge that you do have a problem. So the first step for us is to be able to show you the mirror, that this is where the problem lies. That's step
Mhm.
number one. And this is where it's going to go if you're not going to do something about it. And then the step number three, that do this instead, which will automatically make you sway in the right direction and the right path. So it's a, like I said, it's a logical, intuitive process,
Mm.
where we see what the problem is, and then we help you fix it with the remedies which our tarot decks gives it to us. So I'm a meditation teacher and I'm a breath purification teacher as well, where I
Mm.
tell my clients ways to raise your vibration. Because if you are spiraling down in the negative vibration, then you will automatically attract the wrong resources, people, and situations. Where I can suggest you like a small daily spiritual practice, which will help you float above and sort of activate your upper chakras and
Mm.
make you feel a little balanced, like in semblance. That's when you will be able to have the clarity of mind to attract the right things to you. So we teach that also through the tarot deck,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that kind of leads me to myth number two, which is wait, I had this in my head already. Is that reading the tarot decks is will let you know your future and that it is set in stone, right? So that's why a lot of people are kind of afraid of having like the death card pulled out, because that might mean that they would die, and that because a tarot reader said it, it is now etched in your future.
Okay, I like to say something here. So I know if you're aware of Bhagavad Gita, it's a sacred scripture back in India. And it talks about it that if something is set in stone, like this is, like example, you are supposed to get hit by a big boulder and you will die, right? Suppose like it's written, right?
Yeah.
If it's going to happen like the same way, then one need not do anything. One can just keep lying on their couch and watch Netflix like all day long because it's written in stone. However, if you are consciously making an effort in terms of charity, in terms of service, in terms of meditation, in terms of having thoughts about compassion, about like good stuff, right? You can always alter that, which means you will get hit, but not with a I mean, not by a big boulder, but just a small pebble, like a little
Yeah.
scratch. So it works like that one can always decrease or increase the impact, because we do have things like astrology where, yes, example, if you're bound to be like a nice singer, of course that's your purpose, right? Like you can't be a cricketer there, right?
Yeah.
But one can always get the right channelization through the cards that this is written, but then you can either amplify it, or you can either ruin your chances. So but it can be changed.
Yeah.
Nothing is written on stone. Like the amplification can, I mean, is in our hands. Remember, we have to believe in accountability, that we can we can like co-create our destiny. So it's like free will.
Exactly.
So one
Yes.
cannot, I mean, I'm not God. So even you're not God, right? So one really can't say that this is bound to happen. But yes, if you're not going to do anything about it, then yes, things will happen the way I'm telling you. But
Yeah.
you can always change it. Simple as
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is possible future. Like if you don't like the way that the cards are reading for your future, then change your present. Like Nietzsche said, do things.
Apologize. Sorry.
It's okay. So basically, just
Um,
do things as
apologize about that.
possible. That's okay. So basically, just do things that will take you off that possible path, right? Of
Yes.
getting to whatever that boulder is. So maybe in the future you get hit by a small stone instead.
Exactly. It can be changed, but it's a fact that one can change it.
Exactly.
It's up to us.
For sure, yeah. And I think, I think the last myth that I want to crack is the most common one, which is if you pull the death card, that, and the death card's like my favorite. But anyways, if you pull the
Same.
death card, then that
Yeah.
means that you are going to die. So could you please demystify this for us, Neetu?
For me, death is like your resurrection. I don't believe death being death. Okay, it could be death of a false ego. It could be
Mhm.
death of a bad job which was sort of like derailing you, from like inside. It could be death of a bad relationship. So death has so many levels to it. It could be death of your older self which was no longer working like in unison with your higher self. So
Yeah.
death, not necessarily. I would say 99% death card does not mean actual death. And if you ask me, I normally never like predict death because, like I said, we're not God, and I do believe in miracles. So
Yeah.
I normally never talk about death. Death for me is just the end of a bad era, and now it's
Mm.
just time for a new beginning. So it works like that for me. So I normally never talk about death. We
Exactly.
can't play God here.
For sure. No, and for me, death is transformation. And at the end
Yes.
of the day, even when I do my readings, I usually preface it with I don't take questions about the law. I'm not a
Yeah.
lawyer. Don't take
Yeah.
questions about your health. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I never
the
like your psychic doctor or lawyer, right? So I do talk about your health because if I can see
Mm.
something is coming your way, I can maybe suggest a couple of things which
Yes.
can maybe help you overcome that aspect. So I
Mm.
do talk about that, but yes, death is a big NO for me, capital
Yes,
letters. I don't talk about that because, like I
exactly.
said, people do survive. Like people do have miracles in their life. If we're just gonna say
Mhm.
that someone's gonna die, then that's not really playing cool here, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And then,
yeah.
you're giving this person added anxiety that they don't
Yeah,
need.
I mean, it's like you sort of you're like purposely putting the seed in their head that guess what, you're gonna die, which is
Yeah.
I think not at all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It should be
Not
looked down
not
upon.
not really healthy and not ethical as a reader,
Yeah,
for sure.
I personally don't admire tarot card readers when they talk about death because I have some clients who have gone to some tarot card readers where they talk about death, and I don't advocate that at all.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that's the
Be a
key.
little like responsible about this.
Exactly. And it's unethical for me. Like
It's not
why
ethical at all.
why scare
Absolutely not.
somebody? exactly.
So
That's
remember,
not
I
why.
was talking about the type of readers that I just forgot to tell you one more, that this is about the
Mhm.
magician. Now, these
Yeah.
kind of tarot card readers are actually skilled in their thing, which means like they read a lot of books and they read books about the tarot decks, and they're very mechanical because they are just doing it. I mean, like the intention is not at the right place. It's all about minting
Mm,
money. It's all about reading by the book and being very candid at the cost of being
yeah.
rude and like crude, which can even hurt people. But
Mm,
then that's the agenda because they just feel like they have the power. And I
yeah.
absolutely don't advocate people being this kind of tarot card reader, you
Yeah.
know? Because I
Hmm.
think a good tarot card reader should always have the compassion, you know, for
Yeah.
the other person. If you can't empathize, if you can't feel their pain, then I think you are in the wrong profession, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
No, I think like, what comes to mind when you said that was the Quiapo readers. Like, like
Mm-hmm.
they are very like, you go to Quiapo, I think they're like 500 pesos for reading, and like it's a lot of it is on point, but the main agenda, if you go there enough and you do the readings enough, is they always try to scare you
Yeah.
in, like, oh, something is going to happen, so you need to buy this necklace or you need to buy this oil, and the oil costs
Like
like
a
1,000
business. Yeah.
pesos, etc.
Yeah, it's like a business, right? Right. I
Exactly. So that's
completely don't advocate that. Yeah, because some people get off by the misery of other people because we have all kinds of people in the world, right? And I have experienced a tarot card reader like that. That the person has no love lost for the other person. It's just mechanical, just
yeah.
saying things instead of holding that space of power that I know all about it. But I think that's not a very grounding space to be in, and one should just run away. I feel so. Yeah,
Exactly. No, it's
yeah,
very transactional, and a lot of people, they use those gifts in order
yeah.
to, yeah, basically kind of grift people. Like in Capo, instead of paying X amount for a more expensive reading that can give you introspection and can help you unpack whatever it is you're going through, you pay 500 pesos for Capo wherever, and then yeah, and then they sell you an oil worth 2,500 pesos to get
I know
what the sumpa they
all
say
the
is.
products. So yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
am aware of that. Yes,
which is kind
yes.
of crazy. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it is. It is.
as yeah, I think as tower readers, that is something as well that we want to like educate the clients that kind of seek
Yeah,
us out. Like there are
yeah.
different types of tower readers. Like there are different types of.
I'm not shunning them. I'm just saying that if we are in this profession, the main idea behind is to be able to serve and to
Yeah.
heal people from their
Yes,
misery, right? So I
exactly.
think the first step is that it could always be an interactive session. I mean,
Mm,
like a tarot session should not be like one person is talking and the other person is just like sort of like quiet. It should be interactive.
yeah.
It should be more like a friendly banter where the person can really feel comfortable into sharing their
Mm,
story with you. So that's very
exactly.
important, I feel, in any kind of like relation because like the other person is being vulnerable. So we
Mm,
have to sort of like respect that, not
yeah.
just, be in this space of power where let me do the talking. I don't believe that's very fair. It should just,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
No, I think that's another myth, right? That like if like people try to test the tarot reader by not giving anything away when they do the reading to kind of see like if they're good or not. But like it doesn't work that way. Like not like I said, not everybody is psychic, and we need that interactions in order to help you find the answers that you're looking for, because all we can do at the end of the day is interpret the cards. But if it's not resounding for you and you're not saying anything, then we aren't providing the service that you came to us for.
I actually had a reader like that.
Mm,
She's from Dubai, and she like came to me that okay, you have spoken so much, like as in so much about my boyfriend, about this and that. Okay, what about me? So like she was trying to check me that well because it's very easy for me to talk about others. So like talk about me. Like if I go
mm,
to a party, what do I do? So based on my cards, I could tell her that what, when you go, and plus I've never met her because she's like in Dubai. I
yeah.
did meet her later, but then the thing is that I just saw her being in a party where she's twirling her hair like that to basically
Mhm.
lure and everything. Oh, and she was amazed that oh my god, that's exactly what I do, and I'm never went out with her ever. But then with our cards, we can even see what they
Yeah.
do, what is like their main game and the end game. It's just cards are beautiful. So yes,
Exactly. And there is so much to learn with tarot, and I think it's
so many
also
things.
And I think also for clients that seek us out, also know that it's an evolving process for us also, because the more that we read the
We're learning
cards.
about ourselves too. Absolutely. I'm still learning about myself. I still feel I have so many layers that I'm like trying to unleash within me. And I think every day is a learning from. I still read a lot of books. I still meditate a lot. I'm still trying to delve further into my psyche. I mean, there's so much. I feel a person like who says that I know everything, that's like the end game for you, because
Exactly.
there's
Yeah,
so much in the world and I still feel that I'm like a nobody. I have to learn so much more, and that sort of
exactly.
like drives me. It
Yeah.
makes me go on, you know. So
Mhm.
yes, you
Yeah,
cannot
no,
stop learning.
for sure. And even when we do readings for clients, like a lot of it also are lessons for us. Like, we read you, but at the same time, we also have our own aha moments when you have yours.
Yes.
Because again, like, the unconscious collective are all going through the same kind of experiences. So, what resonates for you may resonate for me as well. Which is
Absolutely.
why I love this practice. It's healing for everybody involved.
Therapeutic, and you learn so much, so sometimes like you see the cards and the visuals on the cards. It's not about what you see, is the absence of cards also which we read. Like I had
Mhm.
this reader once like who came to me and was sort of like zoned in, and she was supposed to get married to this man, and then she said that it's a marriage, that I'm in love with my guy. I'm just see what will my, I mean, like how will my future unfold. So when
Mhm.
I read the cards, I had all the cards which were about passion, which is like the wands and the swords, and the pentacles, but there were no cups. So it's
Huh?
the absolute part. So then I was like, I don't think so. Like you love the man. It's like, no, I do. I said, I don't think so. Like you love the man. And but then she kept on, no, I do. I said, please don't lie to your psychic, okay? You don't love the guy because there was no cups. Like I said, absence of cards are equally important than what you see. And then after 2 minutes, she actually confessed that yes, it's a marriage of convenience, and I
Mhm.
actually don't have any feelings for the man at all. So that's also which is very important. The absence of cards.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
Ugh.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, if you allow me to just share this one story, it was a little bit traumatizing for me because I was hired to like attend do readings for this bachelorette party. They had a hen party. It was fun. I read for all of the guests, and then the last one was the bride to be. And she was like, I was like reading her cards for her, and then she asked me, she's like, so will I be happy in this marriage? And I pulled the cards and I was like, you know what? It kind of looks like the guy loves you. Like he's more committed to this than you are.
uh-huh.
And she was like, oh, you can see that? And then it
Yes, you
turned into
can.
this whole session about her wanting to get out of the marriage. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is your hen party. This isn't supposed to be the conversation that we're having. You're supposed to be
Yeah,
asking about how many babies you want to have or stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it turned into that. And I think
But
kind
it's
of
good to tell them than for them to suffer all their life, right? So I think it's a good thing. I know it does. When I also feel, I mean, I also take this like responsibility if I'm trying to read for someone's divorce or I see divorce on the cards, right? I think it's good to sometimes take the banner off because I can always tell them to work it out. But if I'm saying there's no really, I mean, there's no scope at all and they both are unwilling to sort of work on it, then it's
yeah.
good to sometimes say things as they are, just so
Mm,
they can move on a better like productive path than to suffer like
yeah.
that. So yes, it is a little jarring for us also, but then I think see the bigger picture, like the macro picture, as long as they have something to look forward to, because I believe that no one should settle for less, like they say that it's a, I mean, if you have a big ocean there, right? Some people deliberately just take like a spoon and they just take the water there, that this is my abundance and I'm pretty all right with that. Some people can take a truck and fill the water because there can never be a lack. So why settle for less? I just
That's
believe that you can always get whatever you want in life, like provided you have the intention and the willingness to be able to do that. But there are
yeah.
some people who just wants to just settle for less. So I tell them that no, go ahead and claim your thing, because like you deserve it.
Exactly. And I think again, it comes down to intention. The intention is always that we read, in order for the person to get clarity, for their to raise their awareness for their better good. And yeah, sometimes they need those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Nito, it's been really interesting talking about tarot and tarot readings. Could you maybe do a short sample tarot reading?
Sure, sure. Let
Just
me
so
do like a Celtic cross reading, which is I'm just going to do like a generic reading for you. Maybe
okay,
it's
yeah.
just what I see right now, anything, or unless like you have a very specific question to ask me.
I don't really. So yeah, up to you.
Okay, so I'm going to do a general reading, say for the next 6 months. Would that work?
Yes, that would be perfect.
All right. Can I have your date of birth, dear? What's your date of birth?
It's October 27, 1985.
Okay, so your dominating planet is Mars, which means
Yes.
it's like a red planet. It can give you a little bit of anger issues, but then one can always work through them. But let me
That
just go further.
that's been my life lesson for sure. Plus, like
Yes.
my moon is in Aries and my rising is Gemini. So
But you know what? Mars, after the age of 40, will give you a lot of charitable bone inside you, which means you will always would want to be like the provider for your family, for your
mm,
friends, for the underprivileged people. You will do a lot of charity after the age of 40. I
I think
can
I got
sense.
that early. Like I have like super mommy energy, which I don't know. My
Yeah,
friends love
like the
me. I'm
provider of the family, right? Not like someone who takes, but someone who gives. Yes,
mm,
Mars does that actually. Okay, in fact, you must have a lot of red food in your diet, which means like red kidney beans or red berries or red grapes. Try to
oh,
have include at least one red food every day in
mm,
your diet. It'll be good for you.
interesting.
Okay. All right. So just take a deep breath. I just want you to be at semblance. So we'll just do this together. Take a
Mm-hmm.
deep breath for the inhale for the count of four, hold for the count of four, and then exhale for the count of four. Okay.
Okay,
We'll do
box
it
breath.
3 times together. Okay. So inhale, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Exhale, two, three, four. One more time. Inhale, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Exhale, two, three, four. Now do it one more time on your own while I shuffle the cards for you. So, like I mentioned, it's an interactive session.
Yeah,
So, I would ask you that whether like it's resonating with you or not.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put my laptop a bit here so I can move it out here. Okay, I'm picking up a vibration from you that again, it's a very candid session. And like I said, it's always good to acknowledge it. So when we talk about being alone and we talk about being isolated, when
Mm,
someone is alone, they can like, call up an old friend, they can watch a nice movie, they can read a book, and they are no longer alone. But when
mm,
they isolated, which means that though they have everything going on, but they still this feel this lack, like
yeah.
they're alone and no one gets me. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
picking this vibration from you that right now, if one can appreciate life to the fullest, right? But so like there can be phases because of COVID or because of other stuff, right? That I feel
Yeah.
this isolation feeling within you right
Mm,
now. That you are there. I mean, and as in, I can see the nature there. I can see like the dogs or the cats there, but still there's this
the emptiness.
emptiness.
Yeah.
Emptiness. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
picking that up from you. Okay, I'm gonna pick
Mm,
up more cards.
okay.
Okay, just a moment. Just picking up cards on your behalf.
Yep.
Okay, right. I'm gonna turn them on. Okay. First of all, like you must know that life is like a vicious circle. One has to go through love, loss, success, success, and the entire thing goes on and on in your
Yeah.
lifetime, right? I don't see anything major taking place in the next 6 months which can impact your entire life. But I do see micro events leading you up to this place where you will be able to unleash that actual Kathy inside of you. Okay.
Mm,
See, right now, if you ask me, So you're an eye for luxury, which means like you like your comfort zone, but then you still like to be pampered, like you still like to be looked up upon, like you still like to have this happily ever after thing, where you have your Prince Charming and you are sitting at this pedestal, and you have these friends who are sort of pampering you, who are sort of looking up to you. So that's the essential thing. But in your subconscious mind, when I say subconscious, which means consciously right now you're listening to my voice, but then
Yeah.
subconsciously, like the voice, like the sound of the aircon is getting dwelled in your unconscious mind, right? Which has been there, which has been conditioned for a very long time. I
Yeah.
think like your relationship with money is
Mm.
something that's dwelled, in your unconscious mind, which means that somehow you have this notion that I need to safeguard my money.
Mm.
I need to have this barrier and this framework where it's, it's like safe. I mean, I can use it for the rainy day. So I
Mm.
would just like to say that instead of saying that I'm going to save it for a rainy day, you are basically asking for a rainy day. Instead,
Yeah.
just say that I'm saving up for this occasion. I'm saving up for my Paris trip. I'm saving up for my Amsterdam trip. I mean, try to
Yeah.
erase that rainy day because
Mm.
that somehow then negates the
Yeah.
incoming flow and sort of makes it a little stagnant. But then
Mm.
overall it's a good gesture to be able to actually safeguard it. And
Yeah.
in your recent past, I see you have undergone a lot of healing. A lot of
Yeah.
healing has taken place. I think like the space where you were and the space which you have somehow dealt with, I think you've come a long way, Kathy, a
Mm.
long way. I see
Oh,
this brilliant connection that you right now have with the sun. I'm talking about the natural gods and the demigods. Somehow
yeah.
they're like looking down on you, and you have this connection with the universe which you have forged. But then you had to really undergo this. I mean, I'm like you have undergone this massive transformation, and I can feel that. And I can see that right now you are trying to get to a space, and you will be able to get to a space where like the universe will give you a gift, or whatever you have gone through, it's like the universe giving you a gift for it. It's
Mm.
like you have earned it, you have worked so hard for it, and you are this 11th dimension thing. I mean, I'm talking about the 12 dimensions, right? So it's like you're about to reach the 12th one, where you will actually be this person which you
Mm.
always want to be. It's like, like
Yeah.
like the law of manifestation, where you are trying to unfurl and like peel what you are already. So I
Mm.
think you are getting the like sort of like the glimpse of it, where you know that you are much more than what you are right now, and
Mm.
you are getting the whole like glimpse of it. But I feel that somehow because of like your healing, you are shielded. So I don't think so.
Mm.
You have to worry about not being able to unleash that. In fact, in the next few months, I see you doing something outside your comfort zone, which you've never done before. Again, it's a very generic reading, right? I see that, right now you're at this zone. If you remember the Two of Swords card, right? Like you see a
Mm.
woman sitting on this stone, right? And she has these two swords, and
Yeah.
there's a blindfold there, right? Which
Mm.
means somehow she's not able to confront her situation, because if she wants, she can always put the swords down. I mean, they're very heavy, right? And there are no shackles there. She can just take the blindfold off and just face the situation there, which is you
Mm.
right now. But I see you getting past that. I see you taking the blindfold off, and I see you starting something new. Again, it's at a very nascent stage right now. I'm sure like you have the idea already in your head, but
Mm.
still a lot of planning is required right now, because I'm talking about the execution part, which will
Mm.
take some time. But I do see you going in this path, which by the way is one of your purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's something which can be a little scary, because it's taking a leap of faith and doing it. But I think you should absolutely go ahead and do it, because you're
Mm.
meant to do it. Okay, and it
Mm.
might seem a little scary for some people, that are you sure, Kathy, you want to do it? So there might be some people who might try to put
Yeah.
that seed of doubt and then worry and all of that. But do not, just
Mm.
take that leap of faith and start, because something amazing will come out of it.
Got it.
Amazing, what I'm saying. Now, what are your strengths? I think in terms of the family, I think like your family is your strength, I feel. You
Mm.
know, I think you have voluntarily maybe spoken to your angels to actually make you part of this family, because this
Mm.
family will actually really be there like an anchor for
Yeah.
you. And you also, when you're going to have your own family also, I think you'll be very not possessive, but in a good way, very unconventional, but at the same time conventional.
Yeah.
At the same time,
I
I
get
see you. having like a
Yeah.
vegetable garden there, and like
Mm.
making your own. Making like your own produce,
Yeah. Oh,
and
I'm a total
having a
hip. You can see that happening for
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. So I can just sense that you're a very family oriented person,
Mm.
and that's a, I mean, it's your strength actually, you know.
Mm.
And I see this, I'm picking up this person. You might know this person, or this person is about to enter your life, and this
Mhm.
person is going to be like your ally. He's someone who is very soft spoken, can be a
Mm.
little possessive at times,
Mm.
someone who will be like your advisor, like your guide, who
Mm.
will tell you. I mean, you can always go up to him and share everything and anything, because it's a man. It's a man, maybe like early 30s or late 30s. I mean, like in 30s, basically. Okay.
Okay.
And this person will be, like I said, will be like your beacon, will
Mm.
be someone who will always make you not have that fogged energy where you lack clarity, but he's
Mm.
someone who will be able to balance that fire within you, where you think of different ways and like ideas which can be a little aggressive in your mind sometimes, and you
Yeah.
need someone to be able to balance that energy for you. He will be able to do that for you.
Mm.
Balance your energy. Okay, so
Okay.
watch out for this person, because he'll prove to be a very long ally for you. It will go on,
Got
like
it.
you will have a very long association with this person. Okay,
Mm.
now the only thing is, you sometimes give a lot, Kathy,
Yeah.
and in the process you don't take things, and
Mm.
because of that, expectations. See, one thing I've learned in life, if someone is being unreasonable, it's
Mm.
always important and imperative to make a point. If you
Mm.
don't make a point, then the other person thinks it's allowed. Yeah, you
Mm.
are okay with
Yeah.
it. And then tomorrow, if you want to tell the person that I'm not okay, then the person will blame you that I'm still the same, you're the one who's changed.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
important to make a point, because then the expectation versus like the reality can be a little intimidating and a little hurting.
Mm.
So I would want you to not, I'm not asking you to be aggressive in making a point, but it's important that what you are giving, right, you
Mhm.
take as well. It's
Yeah. No,
always
that
good
makes
to give, but the balance, like inhalation and exhalation, right? You have to
yeah.
inhale and then exhale. Cause and
No,
effect. Sorry, you were
that
saying something.
totally makes sense because I think boundaries has been one of my biggest lessons, especially this whole pandemic. It
Yeah,
really has been where are my boundaries and
yeah.
how do I communicate that to people? So yeah.
Right, right, right. So just watch out for that. Again, it's a very general reading that I'm just reading for you. Unless you have a very specific question, then I can always answer that. But I
Mhm.
just feel that I don't want you to get hurt in the process, right? So as long as you're mindful, as long as you are communicative, as long as you will ensure that whatever I feel, I'm able to let it all out, I think there won't be any problem at all.
Mm.
It'll be a good thing then for you. Can you get a painting of a sun, or like or like a statue, or like a nice artifact, a sun, and
Mhm.
keep it in the east zone of your house? Because I'm
Okay.
also a Mahavastu expert, where I bring like harmony into your surrounding and your environment, because it's like your
Yeah.
3D vision board, like your house. So I feel like you need a lot of networking with the right people who will raise your vibration, because you are half the company which you keep. So when you keep
Yeah.
the sun in your east, in your case, you will somehow attract the right people in your
Mm.
life which you need at this point in time to elevate and to reach your destination. So just keep a picture or a painting of a sun in the
Mm.
east wall of your house. It'll be good for you.
Got it. I will do
Okay.
that.
So we're done with the generic one, unless you have other questions to dear.
No, I'm good. I love that. And
Mhm.
like a lot of it made sense, like for example, you kept saying that like, like it's family, it's really about family for me. Actually, I think in my numerology report, like my life path I think it was a 6, which translates really to home and family. So that's really the energy.
Venus. If it's six, then it's Venus. Then you'll have a lot of like a lot of Venusian qualities, which means
Mm.
beautiful, charitable, and like I said, I for luxury, which means good houses, beautiful
Yeah.
cars, good-looking spouse. So yeah, like
Mm.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, so that I think that totally makes sense. Like for a general reading that's very
Yeah.
specific.
It's just a very generic reading. Like I said, we can go into much more detail, but I thought I'll just leave it for
Yeah.
the generic one, and then we can talk later, one on
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah, for no, for sure. And I love it. Like it's like with the insight. I do my Celtic cross readings a little bit more differently, but I love how, because as well of all the other healing modalities that you practice that you bring
Right.
into your reading, it just
Yeah.
makes for, a very unique experience. So I think that's
I like to
another
like
thing
the
as well.
holistic way of reading. I don't like to just like rely on one aspect. I try to,
Yeah.
like I said, I give them a lot of ways to be able to, make them better in terms of their vibrations and then in
Mm,
terms of Mahavastu. So I basically collaborate everything into my reading, which can give them a very wholesome, you know,
yeah. Yeah.
situation.
And I think that's something that a lot of tarot reader seekers don't really realize is that, different tarot readers, we have different modalities that we also bring based on whatever our background is. So, like for me, there is a little bit of positive psychology, there is Reiki, there is Kabbalah, depending on what it
I've
is
done
that I
Kabbalah too, by the way. Yeah.
right it's such
Kabbalah, yeah.
it's such a great like perspective on
Absolutely.
on what it is that we're kind of going through
Right. And
so it's
then
really
pause, and then know like your teapot.
exactly, and then
Yeah.
just kind of taking that step back and looking at the client and kind of figuring, okay, what's the life lesson here. For me was my huge aha moment with Kabbalah. It really is, so what's the life lesson for this person, what's the main thing that they need to learn in order to kind of move on.
It's actually very
um
beautiful, Kathy, because if you're gonna introspect, then I think it'll make you a better reader. Because it's very imperative for us to introspect every
exactly.
day, which will
Mm.
make us a better person. So I
Mm.
think it's beautiful what you do. So great.
Yeah, no, same with you. I'm learning so much. Like I really am so grateful that we had time to sit and chat today.
Thank
Um,
you for calling me, dear. I'm glad I was able to do this. Yes.
I'm so grateful. And now that we're kind of at the top of the hour,
Mhm.
I think my last question for you, Neetu, is like, what is your kind of like biggest lesson or your biggest aha moment as a tarot reader
There are so many actually, like so many. Aha moment in terms of my clients or in terms of my learning.
in terms of your learning?
Well, I was a very shy person, as a child. Sort of like growing up, I was very shy. I was not able to communicate very well. I think tarots have given me a language. I mean, the
Hmm.
way things flow. I mean, at times I'm also amazed that I'm uh, speaking certain words which I haven't read, which I've not used in a long time. And when the cards talk to you, then you believe in this cosmic consciousness, like you believe in the higher power. It has made me connect to my higher self, which I think is much more powerful as compared to thinking about yourself from just this body, which is very binding, which is
Mhm.
like a very
Very
limiting
constrict.
energy. I
Yeah.
I believe with my cards, I've given this wings where I feel that, when you're able to understand the other person at a very deeper level, with their subconscious mind, and when the words sort of pour into you, it's like you are no longer this like Neetu. I'm much
Mhm.
more than that. So that
Yeah.
feeling of being connected to the higher self, to the cosmic uh, like consciousness, that makes me feel like I'm one with everyone. I think that's the biggest learning that I've been able to come to this space and so like smoothly, without trying really hard. Because the way like the cards will, I mean, like you will know, like the way cards talk to you, it's like you are entering this like different realm, which is
Mm.
much more beautiful, where everything is positive, giving, full of joy. I think that is a beautiful feeling that I get. So whenever I'm feeling low, I know it sounds a little cheesy, but I actually take one of my cards and I enter the card, and I
Mm.
feel the essence and the beauty of that time when the cards must have been painted,
Yeah.
and that makes me feel empowered, that I'm no longer attached to my reality, which at times can be stressful, because I believe there's no thing as like stress is the reaction which you give to a situation, which can makes it
Mhm.
very stressful, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I enter this zone of my tarot decks, it just makes me see that thing from a distance, by not
Yeah.
being attached, which makes me a better problem solver.
Mm.
So that's my
Oh,
biggest takeaway, that I can solve problems very nicely as compared to
mm,
being, you know,
yeah.
being impacted by it.
Yeah, for
So
sure. I think the lesson of yeah, you being able to step out of yourself and be the observer instead of being so into the drama as well, kind
yes.
of also kind of lets you let go of all these judgments that you may
And
have
it's
for
very easy to
yourself.
like spiral down. It's so easy. It's, it's like a trail. One negative emotion or thought will lead to a second one, third one, fourth one. It's
Yeah.
about being mindful and sort of like snap out of it. And I think tarot decks, I mean, like, as in this, like tarot world has somehow made me see a situation from a distance, just
Yeah.
so I can understand the pros and cons, as opposed to coming from a space of anger or guilt or jealousy
Yeah.
or
Mm.
whatever negative emotions they are. That
Yeah.
is my beautiful takeaway and my aha moment, that, you know what, one can do this and one can be much more happier as a person, as opposed to allowing these negative emotions to put you down,
Yeah.
so that's my biggest takeaway from my tarot
I
deck.
love that. Thank you, Neetu. And for those who want to find you, who want to sit down with you for a reading, where can they find you? Are you doing it at the center or is it over Zoom for
I'm
now?
working the center as well, and I take personal clients as well on Zoom call. I have my website, mirakimiracles.com, which they can always access. I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook. Neetu Nilishi 333. They can always find me there. They can DM me, and I'll be at their service.
So, yeah, there you go, guys. If you are looking for introspection, trying to look into your purpose, trying to kind of gauge what you want to do for 2022 and beyond, feel free to contact Neetu for intuitive guidance. Neetu, it's always a pleasure getting
Same
to
here,
talk.
Kathy. Always a pleasure. You have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, same to you too. And that's it for today, guys. We will see you for our next wellness weekend. So